Come on, just come out already.
Come out already. Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you.
Do you want me to come out?
Yeah, because you're gray and pink.
But where will I go? Where will I go?
You will go in front of me.
Gray and pink. So you're dressed in a kimono. Is that a Japanese robe? Is it?
Not a Japanese robe.
Is it a Korean robe?
Didn't you know those Japanese robes are made from copying Chinese robes?
I didn't know that. Really? Is that true? Okay, so this is a Chinese robe. Now, why are you dressed in... Is it a traditional Chinese robe? Is it?
Yeah.
Why are you dressed in one?
Because, what day is it?
Today is the 11th. It's the 11th.
Didn't you know today is a special day?
Well, I did think that it was tomorrow. So is it really today?
Yeah.
I thought it was tomorrow. Wasn't it?
No.
No. So is today the eve of the Chinese New Year?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna greet you, 恭喜发财. Is that right? Is it correct? 恭喜发财. Is it right?
Oh, now I finally know what you mean.
So did I say it right or wrong?
Right. But please don't do it in that tone.
So how should I say it? Can you teach me?
It's like this. 恭喜发财.
恭喜发财. Is that right?
That's much more better.
Much better. So the tone will make it sound strange, right? The tone will make it stranger. Okay, and do you have any red packets?
Mine is white and blue. I don't like wearing red.
Red
I don't like
envelopes.
red as much as blue.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? Red packets full of money. Any?
Oh, I don't have those. And if you don't mind,
stop
talking about that.
Why?
Because.
Why? What's the matter?
Well, sometimes people give me one of those, and my mom is going to.
Oh, really? Is that true? Okay.
They don't want me getting money.
Oh, but if anybody gives you some, they're gonna keep it for you. I think that's how it works, right?
Yeah. I don't get any of the money except when they decide to put it somewhere else.
Yeah, I think they're saving it for you. Maybe they're putting it in a bank for you. Okay, so...
And then use it in university.
Use it for university. Well, that's a good idea. The university is a long time from now. Yeah. Okay.
But I'm not a boy.
What do you mean you're not a boy? Why do you have to tell me that?
Because I'm a girl.
Well, I didn't say you were a boy.
So that kind of this looks like a boy.
Oh, I see. It's a sign with a fist, right? I see that a lot. What does it mean though? If somebody does this, what does it mean? What does it mean?
Fine. The ridiculous thing you said in Chinese.
Oh, it means Happy New Year?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. Oh, I see that you've exited the class. I see you got out of the class.
And then the class killed me.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your essay about your favorite travel destination. It's the one about Iceland. Were you able to write something about it?
I'm able
Where can we find
to
it then?
write about Japan.
Oh, so where can we see your essay?
I didn't write it
You didn't write it? How come?
because I don't have enough time.
What do you do with your time?
I do homework and play with my time.
Yeah, but isn't this homework too? Isn't this homework?
I'm other things. I'm too busy with other things to do anything else.
Okay, so let's talk about your favorite travel destination, but this time you're going to have to write it yourself. Remember, I have been writing your essays for you. So this time you have to learn to write it, okay? My favorite travel destination, and which one is that? Can you give me the name of the city?
Japan.
Travel destination. But what part of Japan? What part of Japan?
Well, I don't know.
How can you write about it if you don't know?
Well, one of the cities that was it's like this. That America ruined.
Is that the one that America ruined? Hiroshima?
Yeah.
Hiroshima? This one?
I know. This town was fine, and then
it exploded. That's Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They're actually two towns. Okay, give me 1 second, just 1 second.
I think, well, I'm going to need to learn to write.
Okay, why don't you try and write something about it? I'm gonna try and clean my camera. Is that clear? I want to clean it like this. Squishy, squishy, squishy. Squishy, squishy, squishy. Cleaning my camera.
Who is that?
Who's what?
Who is that?
Who's that? It's just a Q-tip.
Who is that?
Just a Q-tip.
Have you seen a rabbit before?
Yes, I used to have rabbits for pets. Their names were Baby
What?
Boogie and Baby Boo Boo. There. Do I have a very clear camera now?
Fine.
You know, my cat was here a while ago, but now I can't find him anymore.
Did he run off out of your house?
Yes, he did. He did do that 2 days ago. He did. He ran out of the house in the middle of the night, and when I woke up in the morning, he wasn't there anymore.
Then is he here now?
He's here now, but he disappeared, and he disappeared a few days ago. And then do you know where I found him? Do you know where?
No.
Do you want to guess?
No.
Why don't you guess? Where do you think he was hiding?
Under your bed.
No, he wasn't inside the house at all. He escaped in the night outside of the house. Where do you think
he was eating somebody's food?
No. He was hiding.
Sleeping?
No, he was hiding in the stairwell of the emergency exit of the building's emergency staircase. He was at the 12th floor, and we live on the 17th floor, which means he went all the way downstairs to the 12th floor, and he was hiding in the stairs.
Why would he run?
He's not really running, but he's like, I think he was exploring. Maybe he saw I don't know, maybe he saw a mouse and he tried to run after a mouse. And I followed and I tried to look for him. I tried to call his name, Kitty boy, Kitty boy, Kitty boy, Kitty boy. And then he shouted back at me. He said, meow, 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 meow. And then I followed his voice and I saw him inside the staircase, inside the stairwell. Is that funny?
No.
No. Okay, so, all right, so that you're writing your first sentence. That's good. Okay, that looks clear to me. Clearer. Clearer camera.
Is this an I or an L?
It looks
Can
like
you
it
tell?
looks like an I to me.
Wow, it's an L.
Okay, if it's an L, then it's an L. That's fine if it's an L. The other tip is you should learn how to write with both hands and with all of your fingers. You can do that with practice.
I know how to do that, but I don't want to. And I think I'm faster this way.
That is it. You have to cut it. You have to cut the line to the next one. You have to cut the line like this, right? So that we can read it, and then put it somewhere we can see. There you go.
No, I'm going to write it again. What happened?
What happened? Did you erase it?
Yeah. Finish a sentence.
It's just one sentence.
Yeah, I can't do that so fast.
Can I see what you wrote? The first time I got to Japan, the first thing I saw was a town full of people. Is that all you have to say?
I only can write about much.
Okay.
See,
All right. What's next?
there's already 20 minutes.
Wait.
What happened?
No, let's make it smaller. Okay. The first time I got to Japan, the first time I got to Japan. The first thing I saw was a town full of people. Okay. The name of this town was what?
That one you've mentioned.
Which one? I mentioned two. Hiroshima or Nagasaki?
I think it was Nagasaki.
Nagasaki. Okay. The name of this town is Nagasaki. What do you want to say next?
I thought the food in there would be awesome.
Would be awesome.
Since they were smart enough to make a sushi.
Since they were smart enough to make sushi. Okay. But I realized that what?
It was gross.
It was gross. Why did you think it was gross? It was gross because why?
It was so cold.
Because the sushi was so cold?
Not the sushi.
Which one?
The noodles. I said I like sushi.
It was gross because the noodles were so cold. Okay, it made me...
And the egg inside. Well, I don't know how to say it in English. It's like this.
Is it like a poached egg, a boiled egg, a fried egg, sunny side up egg, scrambled egg?
No. Not any kind of egg. It wasn't boiled or scrambled or poached or anything.
Then what was it? It was raw. Raw egg.
Yeah.
And the egg inside was raw. Okay? Is that right?
So I didn't feel like eating it.
So I didn't feel like eating it. What was this dish? You were talking about sushi and suddenly it became noodles. What happened? Are you talking about ramen? Are you talking about Japanese ramen?
Japanese noodle.
Yeah, it's ramen. R-A.
Gross.
So I didn't feel like eating it. So what did you do with it?
Not really when he sleeps.
Okay, what's next? What's the next sentence?
What happened?
Okay, Iris, you need to concentrate on your paragraph so we can finish it. Okay, so you said that it was gross because the noodles were so cold and the egg inside was raw, so I didn't feel like eating it. What else do you want to say about the food? However...
And it didn't look good either.
Okay, it didn't look good either. Now I want you to talk about something good about the food. But I thought that what food did you like?
But then I get to try a sushi and it was pretty good.
Then I got to try a sushi and it was pretty good. Okay, can you describe that sushi? Can you describe it?
I forgot.
Was it orange? Did it have salmon in it? Was it pink tuna? What was it?
It had rice in it.
It had sticky rice.
But the most part of it was green.
And the rest of it was green. Okay, so that's what you want to say about the food. Now let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the place itself. Say something about, the place. Was it, say something about the town. Okay, but as for the town, I saw, what did you see? Talk about the buildings, the museums, the gardens, the shops. Okay, but as for the town, I saw what?
I I saw a shop, and
Just
in
one shop?
the shop, I saw Chinese costumes.
I saw Chinese costumes. Okay, obviously there's more than one shop in that town, right? So you just noticed one shop. Okay, so you say, I noticed a shop. And in that shop, okay, and say something about the Chinese costumes.
One of them was pink.
One of the costumes was pink. What else? Say something about the sleeves. Was it made of silk? Was it soft? Was it long? Did it have flowers on it?
And it looked like Japanese people didn't do much good of making those Chinese costumes.
And it looked like the Japanese people didn't do a good job making those costumes. So you have to explain why. This is because, why?
This is because traditional Chinese costumes doesn't look well. Traditional Chinese costumes, well, it's like, well, see, it's like the whole suit was covered in these kinds of things. Well, it looked very thick, and
embroidery.
And it was it doesn't look like traditional Chinese costume.
This is because they didn't look
This is because that costume looked very thick.
They look. How do you know that they were Chinese? Don't you think they were Japanese costumes?
No, because they had flowers, and it was, well, see?
The robes were full of thick flowers. Is that right?
No, the robes were thick. And the flowers were even more thick.
Were even thicker. Okay, I know you're talking about the embroidery, and the embroidered flowers were even thicker. Okay, so are you saying that traditional Chinese costumes usually have are usually thinner?
Yeah.
Thinner.
It like this.
Okay.
And that costume was thick like this.
Okay, usually use thinner textiles, okay, or garments, textiles. Okay, my question is, what makes you think that they were Chinese costumes? Don't you think that they were Japanese costumes?
Because Japanese costumes is Chinese costumes. They are copying Chinese people.
Okay, so how do you know that what you saw was not a Japanese kimono?
Because I don't know what are kimonos.
Kimonos are Japanese traditional costumes.
Let me see what it looks like.
Unless the shop specifically said that they were selling Chinese costumes, it's very likely that you saw Japanese costumes.
Let me see what does it look like.
Traditional Japanese kimono. Okay, this is what they look like. This one.
Let me see closer.
Okay, do you see it now?
It looks simply like a Chinese dress.
Yeah, but the Chinese dress is different from the kimono. There are some slight differences. Okay, let's look at the traditional Chinese robe. See, it's different, right? Don't you see it's different?
Let me see the two kinds of robes together.
Traditional Chinese robe versus Japanese kimono. They look similar, but they're absolutely not. There are some slight differences. So here you go. So in the middle is Chinese, on the left is Korean, on the right is Japanese. Do you see it? Okay, I'll show you another one. So on the left is Japanese, on the right is the Chinese Hanfu. Do you see the difference?
I think that shop, the things they sell, it looked definitely like Chinese robes.
So they were definitely Chinese Hanfu, not Japanese kimonos.
And I think Japanese kimonos were were the copies of.
You know what? It doesn't really matter if they copied or not. What matters is they're not the same. Okay, let's look at it. Let's look at at a drawing more carefully. So here on the left side you have the Hanbok, the Korean Hanbok. Okay, in the middle you have the Chinese Hanfu, and on the right you have a Japanese kimono. Okay, they look similar, but they're not exactly the same. Okay, do you see it? They're not the same, right? So are you still certain that you are looking at Chinese dresses and not Japanese robes?
Yeah, it was traditional. It was traditional Japanese robes, but it definitely doesn't look like the kimono and certainly looks like Chinese robes.
My question is, why would a traditional Japanese town sell Chinese costumes?
Well, I think because it's their traditional clothing.
But this is Japanese. Why would they wear Chinese clothing?
Maybe you can ask this monster.
Okay, I'm very, very doubtful about your story. I still think that they were selling kimonos. But anyway, but that's not for me to say because that's not my experience. Let's continue with your.
Let me tell you what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks definitely like. It's so hard to draw.
Yeah, I know. I know that's true.
No, it wasn't like that.
Well, yeah, most of them look like that. Even the Korean robes look like that. They are different in terms of the size of the sleeves. Okay, the sleeve openings would be different.
I think the Japanese ones are bigger and Chinese ones are smaller. And I saw it was definitely small.
It only looks smaller because the Chinese robes have thinner fabric. It's like you're using silk, right? Very soft silk. Japanese kimonos would use thicker material, which is exactly what you were talking about. The kimonos had very thick material, which means those were kimonos.
Have I mentioned that those were copying us?
It's not exactly copying you. It's just that you have a shared history with Japan. Ancient Japan and ancient China and ancient Korea were closely related to each other thousands of years ago. And they shared clothes, they shared food.
Japanese people are Chinese people.
You can't say that. If you say that to a Japanese person, they'd be very angry. They're not Chinese, they're Japanese.
They are.
And also, that statement doesn't make sense.
That Japanese people looks definitely like Chinese people.
I don't think.
Haven't you heard the story?
When I see Japanese and Korean people, I can tell which one is Japanese and which one is Korean. When I see Japanese and Chinese people together, I can also see the difference in their faces. They look a little bit similar, but they're definitely different.
Tell you something else. Once that time my mom and me went to Japan and my mom asked in English about something, but the man said in Japanese, and then when we all looked confused, he said, "Are you Chinese people?"
And then what?
And then my mom nodded and he told her what she asked.
Yes, I know. You know, I'm Filipino, right? I'm a Filipino person. I come from the Philippines, but most of the people here think I'm Chinese. They think I'm Chinese. They talk to me in Chinese all the time. It doesn't mean that I look Chinese. They just think I'm Chinese.
Wow, you do really look like that.
Yeah, so it's the same with the Japanese.
You need to be like yellow instead of red.
Yellow instead of red. Do I look red to you?
Yeah,
look red
you are
to you?
red. Your face has definitely got the look like normal people.
Like normal people.
Normal people are supposed to be red.
Normal? Are you telling me that Chinese are not normal people?
Chinese people are yellow people.
Yellowish skin.
Yellow.
Yellow skin. I used to think I had yellow skin though.
I think your skin is red.
Red.
Redder.
I never thought of myself as a red-skinned person. Okay, that is a surprise. Okay.
Redder than me.
Okay, let's talk about your essay. So now you talked about the shop. What else did you see in the town besides this shop?
But did you know Japanese people are descended from Chinese people?
Probably. I don't remember. I studied about that a long time ago, but I think they were mingled.
What? Let me tell you that once the emperor tells somebody to go and find the medicine that will make him invincible. But he didn't find it. So he lied and said the people who had the medicine wanted presents, people for presents. So then the emperor let him take 100 people there, and then the 100 people saw the people that were originally there, and they lived there forever.
They lived forever.
And that place was Japan.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
So Japanese people are actually half descended from Chinese people.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing for other countries all over the world. Filipinos came from Malays and Indonesian people, but we don't call ourselves Malaysian or Indonesian. We're now Filipinos because we have developed our own life and our own culture, even though we descended from some of those people groups.
Well, actually, I might say all the Japanese people.
All the Japanese people descended from Chinese. But let's go back to your essay, okay? Let's talk about the town. What else can you say about this town besides the shop that you saw? Besides the shop, I also saw some
other buildings.
Some other buildings, and the most interesting one was what?
The most interesting one was
What was it?
I don't know.
What are you going to write in this essay? You have to write something.
Was one that had something on it, and it had, well, I don't know what they are called. Are they called claws? Like,
what's that?
And
it looks
it's
like
a bird.
Garbage. It had birds on it. Stone Birds was a building with lots of birds on it or around it. What's this?
Haven't you seen the writing?
No, it's not clear. Okay, let's go to your next paragraph. Your next paragraph.
It's this kind of bird.
Oh, crows. There's lots of crows here in Malaysia. Yeah, I know crows.
Do you like them?
Do I like them? Well, yeah, I like all kinds of birds. They're scavengers. Do you know what scavengers are?
We are scavengers.
But do you know what it is?
Scavengers eat dead things.
Yes, They eat garbage. They eat dead bodies. Crows are scavengers.
We eat dead things too. Why aren't we scavengers?
Basically, a scavenger eats waste. You know what waste is?
Scavenging something in the ground.
It's like they eat garbage. We're not supposed to eat garbage, right?
Oh, let me see. I can draw a garbage.
Okay, let's do the last paragraph. Wait, let's do the last paragraph. So your last paragraph will sound like this. However, don't move it around. However, the most interesting part of our trip to Japan was what?
Was seeing my mom talk with a Japanese people.
A Japanese person. Okay, and say something about it. Why was that interesting?
Because my mom asked something in English and he gave a response in Japanese.
Responded in Japanese, okay? And then what?
And then.
Okay, why was that interesting?
And then my mom looked confused, and that person said, "Are you a Chinese people?" In Chinese.
He asked if we were Chinese in Chinese. That means he can speak Chinese. He spoke in Chinese.
Yeah. But some people can speak Chinese because they are half descended from Chinese people.
Okay, fine. All right. So what is your concluding sentence? Can you give me an ending sentence? In the end, I thought that this trip was what?
Most boring indeed.
Most boring indeed. That is so funny. Okay, so we're going to name this my trip to Japan, okay?
All right.
My trip to Japan.
There are only 1 second after we finish the class. See, look at this. It's so interesting.
Okay, so I'm going to send this back to you, and okay, so on our next meeting, we will start on a new unit. Okay, so I
want to start in a new project.
Okay, I wish you a happy new year. I'll see you next time, okay?
All right.
Okay, bye-bye. Take care. Have fun. Bye.